Well, our friend and art critic that presented your exhibition, Geraldina Polverelli, defined your work after having had a long chat with you, fresh, free, and crazy. So, how does this match your colorful work?
Well, I think it matches it in the sense that it's fresh because it always has this vivid, spontaneous truth about it. Every one of my pieces has this, it's vivid and it's spontaneous, so I guess that is what makes it fresh. It's free because I take the freedom of using materials and techniques that have already been used, but I evolve them into a discussion that may be more pertinent nowadays, or may also be related to the past, but still pertinent today. Or it's free in the sense that it's also it's kind of trampish. It's vagabond, and I think that's what makes it free. And I take even with my color chrome, the way I match colors, it's very free. I sometimes associate colors that on the spectrum are opposites, or you don't think would go together, but they match in the end. So I take freedom in doing that, and crazy because it is kind of insane to see. I mean, pieces of the floor on canvas, like pieces of parquet, or little cars that are all silver chromed, shower tubes, combs and hair curls and ropes and pencils, bags, sharpeners, erasers. I mean, there's glass marbles. There's a bunch of stuff. There's my paintbrushes. Yeah, and
the paintbrush, exactly. Right. Sometimes you just leave it there, right, painting after having used it. Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody very clever said, "Oh, is that because you don't want to wash them?" And I had to think about it, but no, that's not why. That's not why.
And well, as a matter of fact, we entitled your exhibition "Colors plus Words equals New Icons." This because you're also a poet. So sometimes you've used your own poetry to frame your work. Sometimes it's in the background, and then you paint on top of it. So how does that combine your? Do the colors that you put on top of the painting match the poem that's beneath?
Often, yes.
Are they related?
Yes, often they are. Often there's a color study that bases itself not on the content of the poem, but maybe on applying any poem to some kind of new format. William Blake was one of the first who engraved his poems with a drawing, and I'm sort of doing that in the 21st century, if you like, and I'm using graffiti art, and I'm mixing, maybe sometimes there's some run-on sentences, sometimes it's controlled automatic writing, sometimes it's my poems that have a specific metric to them, and sometimes the colors relate to the content of the poem, but other times it's just finding a new format for poetry, because nowadays, unless you're a student and maybe very academic, you'll read poetry because it's a synthesis of work that could be many pages long. And I mean, if you haven't studied the books or the concepts that these poems refer to, it's very hard to find the poem to be a jewel. And so, if you like, it's a way of including poetry and giving it a larger exposure. I mean, I think it's also a way for me to get my poetry out there.
Right. And how did you leave the experience of putting together your first exhibition? First of all, we wish to thank Leopoldina Armani, who's been necessary
Yes.
for your art exhibition, Geraldina Polverelli for presenting your work, and you know, we became a team all together.
Yeah,
We?
it was really...
And as an art director, it was very interesting for me to cooperate, to get to know the artist as well, and you know, to understand what's behind his work. And how did you feel? And how was that day? You know, the opening and.
Oh, the opening! I was on cloud 9, 4 meters above the ground. That's 12 feet, 16 feet above the ground. And I mean, people would talk to me, but I was like, yeah. I mean,
yeah, it was exciting.
I wasn't really. I was there, but I wasn't really there. I was just getting a feel, because most of my work has been very private to me. And I mean, people who know me have seen my work, have seen my art, but it's always been like in some kind of storage room where the lighting wasn't so efficient, and you couldn't really get a feel for, and they were always all cramped. Because
I remember coming to your studio, and there was just so many, and
they're all
you couldn't really enjoy them.
piled.
Yeah.
So for the first time, people who had seen my work on a variety of occasions came up to me and they were like, wow, your art is really amazing. Now that I see it on the walls in an art gallery with the proper lighting, I honestly didn't know. Yeah, it really does. And I mean, of course, you, Leopoldina, Geraldina, the team, the lighting team that helped me set up, and also because you and Leopoldina organized some kind of route, which groups my work and also contextualizes it in the space of your art gallery. And that was very clever. That was something that really made a difference. It gave people coming into the gallery a direction, and it sort of held their hand. Because if you like, all my paintings are very they're very unique, but in a way you found a way to group them so that there was a coherence.
Tell the story. We tried to tell the story. Yeah.
And it worked out, I think. So on the opening, I was like, I was on cloud 9, because I'd see all these people. There were a few hundred people, and they enjoyed seeing my work, and I thought it would have never happened. I mean, not that I'd have ever stopped painting had this not happened, because it's been something that I think has saved my life. I mean, the time I spend with my canvas, with my colors, buying colors, choosing colors, finding the objects, looking for stones, that has kept me out of trouble. I mean, I must admit that has kept me out of trouble. And I feel that I would have never stopped, but
it's this a new drive, right?
Yes, it's a new drive, definitely. Yeah. And also conversations that I may have had before about art today have become more serious. Yeah. So I have met a few collectors, a few experts that have given me some advice that already I haven't stopped painting since the exhibit. I've painted 4 or 5 pieces, and I see that my conversations with these people has really enriched me. It's given me a heads up to how to direct my art in its course, and I think it's very important for young artists.
Yeah. So let's tell everybody where we are. We are in Via degli Orsini 32, Piazza dell'Orologio. If you happen to be in Rome by March the 30th, come see us.
Please.
Tuesday through Saturday, 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.